Are you ready to change your life, but don't know how to start? Is your stress and worries keeping you awake at night? Have you been battling grief, anxiety, or depression all alone? Have you lost touch with your own sense of being or spirituality? Soul Free Therapies offers professional and affordable live video streaming counseling and coaching services from the comfort of your own home. Sessions offered in English, Spanish, and Portuguese. Go to our website at www.soul-free.com and book your first session today.
The Opperman Report is brought to you by Aquadam.net. You can give them a call at 707-764-2119. A flooded home is never easy to deal with. You're left with the mess to clean up, the insurance companies to deal with, and not to mention all the memories, the precious memories that are lost in the flood. You can never replace those. And Aquadam can be a tool in your arsenal to protect your home and property from the floodwaters. The cofferdam is filled with water to control water and is reusable as long as it's taken care of. It can protect your home or business from rising floodwaters like a dam, but without the beavers. It can also be used in construction. If you need an area to be dewatered, an Aquadam can do the job. An Aquadam was used at SeaWorld in Orlando for the Mako roller coaster ride during the coaster's construction by dewatering the work area. An Aquadam is now dewatering the work area at San Antonio SeaWorld for their newest roller coaster ride. An Aquadam has been used in many construction projects all around the U.S. and all around the world. Now give Aquadam a call, 707-764-2119. You can look them up online at aquadam.net. You can find them on Facebook at Aquadam Inc. You call them up, you email them, you tell them Ed Opperman sent you, and they're going to take 10% off the price. Aquadam.net, 707-764-2119. PureSoapFlakes.com, 218-568-2525. Have you ever heard of Castile Soap? Pure Soap Flake Company handcrafts fine soap bars, laundry powder, and concentrated soap flakes using organic vegetable oils from their northern Minnesota facility. Bathe your body and wash your clothes with Pure Soap products that are free of fragrance, GMOs, palm oil, sodium lauryl sulfate, and synthetic additives. Keep it clean, folks. Pure Soap Flake Company products are kind to living creatures and sensitive skin, safe for drains and waterways, and work great in high-efficiency washers and top and front-loading machines. They have a little promotion going on. Contact them to order some soap. Mention the Opperman Report. You're going to get a free gift. They're going to send a little extra soap, travel size, soap bars and laundry soap, cleaning soap flakes. I've been using that stuff all day long today. Great stuff. Order today at puresoapflakes.com or give them a call, 218-568-2525, 218-568-2525. Pure Soap Flake Company is a proud member of the Handcrafted Soap and Cosmetic Guild. If you find yourself in need of legal representation, it can be a very stressful time in your life. In my career, I have dealt with thousands of lawyers, I've dealt with thousands of law firms, and I can confidently recommend to you Keith M. Davidson at kmdlaw.com. Available 24 hours, 7 days a week. Just log into kmdlaw.com. That's kmdlaw.com. Or you can call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. That's 833-4KMD-LAW. Personal injury, wrongful death, STDs, sexual assault, car accidents, they handle it all efficiently and professionally. It doesn't matter how imposing the opposition may be, because the team at kmdlaw.com are battle-tested and fierce. They will not stop until justice prevails. Go to kmdlaw.com or call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. If you're in for the fight of your life, stop screwing around and contact KMD Law.
It's the Opperman Report. Join digital forensic investigator and PI Ed Opperman for an in-depth discussion of conspiracy theories, strategy of New World Order resistance, high-profile court cases in the news, and interviews with expert guests and authors on these topics and more. It's the Opperman Report. And now, here is investigator Ed Opperman.
Okay, welcome to the Opperman Report. I'm your host, Private Investigator Ed Opperman. You can find me at Opperman Investigations and Digital Forensic Consulting, either through my website, emailrevealer.com, or you can email me directly at oppermaninvestigations@gmail.com. If you like our show, be sure and check out our Patreon. It's a brand new Patreon. We have only about 50 shows up there yet, but we're putting up 8 hours of new content every month. That's the Opperman Report Patreon. And of course, our archives are always free. You can find all of our old shows at Spreaker.com. There's a chat room and You get an email notification anytime we put up new content, and it's totally free. You can sign up for free and follow us for free. And it might be a good time to do that now because we're getting hit with all kinds of stuff on YouTube where they're sending me strikes. And the YouTube channel's about to go. They're deleting a bunch of shows on there. All the old shows with Cisco Street Love are gone. So if you've been listening on YouTube, it's a good time to make the switch now over to Spreaker. Our guest today is Ike McCorkle, and he's running for Congress over in CD4 in Colorado. Fascinating man. He's been a military hero, special operations type guy. Ike McCorkle, are you there?
Yes, sir. Thanks so much for having me, Ed.
No, thank you so much for coming on the show. Tell us about yourself, though. Ike McCorkle. Who is Ike McCorkle?
Yeah, it's a really pleasure to be here, and I really appreciate the opportunity to talk with you guys this morning. Ike McCorkle is me, and I'm a retired Marine officer. Like you said, I did 12 years as an enlisted Marine, and was in the infantry and Force Recon, and then after 12 years of service, I was a gunnery sergeant, and that's a E7 in the Marines, and I got accepted for the enlisted commissioning education program, and got commissioned to second lieutenant, and served 6 years in the Corps as an officer, and that really formed my perspectives on our Constitution, on our nation, and really military service in general is what formed my perspectives even early in my life. And I'll just get into a little bit of my background since you asked, who is Ike? Well, I was raised by a tough single mom in rural Washington State and rural Texas and Alabama. And we were on welfare and food stamps and free meals at school. And those programs are what gave my mom the ability to lift herself up by her bootstraps. I didn't mention, but when I was 2 years old, my dad took off, and my mom was left at 27 with 3 kids, my older brother, Justin, and my little sister, Alana, and a bankrupt convenience store. And so she had nothing to stand on, and had to go back to school, completed her nursing degree, and it was because of programs like welfare and food stamps and free meals at school that my mom was able to do that and gain her commission in the United States Air Force. And I apologize about my voice. You'll hear me constantly clearing my throat. It's because I have a paralyzed vocal cord from a combat injury that I got downrange in Iraq. But yeah, my mom joined the United States Air Force when I was the summer I turned 8, and we moved from Washington State to Texas, and that improved our lives very much. And like I said, it formed my perspectives, and the example that I had in my mother is why I am this civically oriented, kind of engaged citizen that I am today. I'm also, of course, a very concerned father. But, like I said, I grew up in rural Washington, Texas, and Alabama, and wound up joining the Marines at the age of 17. I quit high school when I was 16 because I was bored, and I got my GED, and I did a year at a community college in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and joined the Marines when I was 17 years old. And, the things that I learned in service, the education that I received, is why I am who I am today. And, that's the type of things that I think that we need to start thinking about putting in place for all the citizens of our country, not just service members. Access to health care, access to education. And so military service and, taking care of my subordinates, my peers, learning from my superiors over almost 18 years of service, over 6 deployments, 4 combat tours, developed a perspective of service and sacrifice. Service before self is what we say in the Marines. And Ductus Exemplo is the Marine Officer Corps' motto, which is leadership by example. And that's exactly what I think that we need in office in the U.S. House of Representatives, is leadership by example. And one of the key factors, and I learned that lesson in leadership by example even before I joined the Marines from my mom. But what we need is legislators in office that are going to set the example. And what I mean by that is set the example by refusing to accept bribes.
That would be nice, yeah. Hey, Ike, let me ask you a question. After you left the Marine Corps, did you go straight into public service, or did you go into business? What did you do after that?
Oh, yeah. Got it. Well, at the time, because I retired in late 2014, my plan was to garden and, spend time with my kids and be engaged in their life, kind of the way my dad wasn't in ours, and set the example. But that plan didn't work out, as they often don't. We say in the Marines that no plan survives first contact, and that was surely the case here. But after retiring in 2014, my plan was to spend time with my kids and garden and do yoga and relax after 18 tough years and 6 deployments and 4 combat tours. I was going to relax and have a little me time. But I recognized in the 16 election cycle that the integrity of the institutions that I swore to support and defend were being compromised. And that being the case, my children's viable future was being compromised. And the financial corruption of our government has been, decades in the making, but it is why we are not, addressing the climate crisis, for instance. And that corruptive influence in our government is what I see as the primary thing that needs to be addressed so that we can make progress in other sectors. For instance, if we want investment in adequate health care that isn't profit-driven, or education that is student-oriented instead of profit-driven, we need legislators in office that don't accept contributions from corporate political action committees that are that corruptive influence that I keep mentioning. And it's what Eisenhower warned us about when he left office. And I'm sorry, go down a little bit of a rabbit's hole every time I start to talk about government, but it really is decades in the making. And, Eisenhower warned us about the dangerous potentials of the congressional military industrial complex to corrupt the motivation of the legislature. And he was talking about its potential to engage us in protracted, fiscally driven foreign wars, which we've been engaged in for decades, and its potential to corrupt the legislature. And that's the crux of the matter that I think a lot of people kind of overlook when they're examining Eisenhower's dictations, is that he wasn't just talking about us being engaged in protracted wars. He was talking about the actual dollar cost of the military-industrial complex, and that's its impact on our nation's investment in our educational institutions, in our healthcare systems, in our infrastructure, and we see that right now. That the 1% is profiting to a astronomical degree, while our infrastructure crumbles, while our healthcare system fails the needs of our citizens, while our educational institutions don't even have enough funds to pay their teachers livable wages or condition the air in their buildings. And yeah, so corruption, from my perspective, is what we need to remove from government if we want to start having a government that will serve the will, needs, and interests of our citizens. That especially being true in rural districts like Congressional District 4.
Yeah, well, yeah. Why don't you describe what is CD4 like? I mean, what is the demographics? Is it a rural area?
It really is. It kind of has three major population centers. About 72%, and I'm going off memory here, so these are estimations, but very close. Roughly 72% of the population lives in the Big Three, which is Douglas County, Boulder County, and Weld County. And the towns, the big towns in those areas are Longmont and Parker, Castle Rock, and Greeley. And that's about 72% of our population. The other 28-odd% roughly lives in the rural counties. And that's roughly a third of the state, the eastern 22 counties. And it's, comprised of large agricultural areas that rely on corn and wheat and rely on hemp, and they are suffering. They're suffering not just the effects of the tariffs and the trade wars and the economic devastation of COVID-19, but they're suffering the effects of climate change. And there are dryland farmers in our district that haven't had a crop in 2 years. And so we have a situation where we have a legislator in office who's voted against the Farm Bill. And at the same time, farm subsidies under this administration have just skyrocketed. And they've skyrocketed specifically because of the conditions that have been set by this administration in the destruction of markets for crops. And we've seen farm subsidies, and this is the message that we really need to be speaking to farmers and ranchers about, is that this administration has made them reliant on these federal subsidies. It's destroyed their markets. It's made the farming overall go from about $13 billion in annual subsidies. The tariffs and the trade wars made those subsidies climb all the way up to around almost $24 billion in subsidies. And then the effects of COVID-19 have taken those subsidies all the way up to almost $33 billion. What that means is that our farming and ranching community doesn't have the ability to support itself. And subsidies in that level are not sustainable. So what we need to do in order to take care of the agricultural community, which is a huge part of CD4, is set in place the legislative conditions that will reestablish markets for our agricultural products. That means fair trade deals. And, we don't have a representative in office right now who's supporting any of that.
Ike, let me ask you this. Now, is CD4, is this a wealthy district? Because Boulder is a pretty wealthy area, right? Is this a wealthy area? And what about unemployment? Is there high unemployment?
Yeah, so it varies pretty drastically. Of course, we've seen unemployment across the board climb pretty drastically because of COVID-19. But I was just about to talk about the needs of people who have lost their jobs in employment due to COVID-19. But CD4 is largely a rural district, and the folks out there, work on farms, they work on ranches, and they work in meatpacking plants up in Weld and Greeley, and they work in the oil and gas industry. And so they also work in the renewable energy industry. But the prior few things that I mentioned, the oil and gas industry, the meatpacking plants, the corn farms, the wheat farms, the hemp farms, they're all suffering the effects of the tariffs and the trade wars and the destruction of their markets. So even before the economic effects of COVID-19, there were large swaths of our district who were experiencing economic hardship. Now, that's kind of true across the board in the country as well, where 80% of our society almost is living, even before COVID-19, paycheck to paycheck, and now has, very little ability to pay their rent or mortgage or put food on the table.
Well, then, Ike,
what we need to
let me ask you a tough question, Ike, okay? Because you mentioned before the military-industrial complex, right? And here you are, you talk about, you represent this area where there's a lot of unemployment. Well, let's say I'm Lockheed Martin, right? And I come to Ike McCorkle, and I say, listen, Ike, Ike gets elected, right? I say, listen, Ike, we're going to put a little factory down here for you, okay? We're going to get you some employment, okay? Right. But we want you to keep your mouth shut, okay? Now, that's a dilemma. That's a dilemma, Ike. What do you do then?
Well, sir, that would be a quid pro quo in my opinion. And I would tell Lockheed Martin to go shove it where the sun don't shine. And it's the same that I would tell the Speaker of the House, the same that I would tell the President of the United States if they were telling me to speak or to toe the line. Now, my opponent does toe the line, but I won't toe the line for any multinational corporation, for any PAC, for any corporate conglomerate, for the military-industrial complex, because, fundamentally, that's not who I will be working for. And I think that's a concept that folks in service and government kind of fail to grasp as well. Especially my opponent, Ken Buck, fails to grasp that he does not work for the executive branch. He does not work for the President of the United States. He works for the citizens of Congressional District 4. And instead of serving the needs of the citizens of CD4, Buck toes the line for the executive branch. And that is a breakdown in representative government. And that's one of the reasons, that I'm running for office, because I believe in, democracy. I believe in our republic. I believe in our constitutional rights. And, I believe that we need a government that is true to form, in that it represents the will, interest, and needs of the constituents of the nation and the security of the nation before that of any corporation.
And Ken Buck, isn't he the one? I think I saw a documentary recently with that guy Matt Gaetz. And didn't Ken Buck say something about he didn't want to run again? What changed his mind?
Yeah.
He was tired. He was bored or something. What was that? He didn't want to run, right?
He said a couple of different things like that. He said, he has no illusion that anything he says makes any difference. Okay. He said he doesn't want to be a congressman anymore. He's ready for retirement, and I think that he's right. you can see that in his votes and in the way that he engages in his district. The reason Ken Buck is running for office again, in my opinion, is not that he really wants to serve the constituents of District 4. The reason Ken is running for office is because the corrupt corporate political establishment in Washington wanted him to run. It's because he has name recognition, and they're terrified that they're going to lose another seat, that they're going to lose control of the U.S. Senate, the U.S. House, and that they won't be able to keep their corrupt agenda in place, which supports the profits of their shareholders and hence the accounts that fill their campaign coffers. And that's the crux of the problem. And when we get to campaign finance reform, we'll have legislators more interested in serving the people than in lining the pockets of shareholders that contribute, indirectly to their campaigns via these corporate political action committees.
I was looking up Ken Buck as you were talking. Now, is it true that just recently there was that shooting up in Michigan, and that the next day or shortly after that he showed up at some type of a rally with a "Kill 'em all and let God sort 'em out" T-shirt?
Yeah, unfortunately, that's the case. And that's not the only incident of kind of the propagation of a toxic culture. And in my opinion, as a representative, as a leader, you need to set the example. And leadership, especially in a representative institution of government, is responsible for conducting the deliberative process, for solving problems, via verbal engagement. And the example that Ken Buck sets is, taking an AR-15 off his wall and pointing it at the camera and telling, Vice President Biden and Congressman Beto O'Rourke to come and try and take it from him, threatening them in a way, very directly, and displaying completely inappropriate conduct with respect to the proper handling of firearms and munitions. And that was a few months back in the summer, I think June, and then the incident that you mentioned, it happened just days after Americans, innocent Americans, were gunned down on our streets. And just days after that happened, after innocent Americans were gunned down on our streets, Ken Buck showed up at a pro-gun rally, campaign rally, and wore a T-shirt that said, like you mentioned, "Kill 'em all and let God sort it out." Well, not only is that inappropriate in the current national atmosphere, with respect to firearms and ammunition, but it's completely contradictory to good order and discipline and leadership and everything that any military service member ever learned. And I read a lot of the Denver Post, and I enjoy their articles. They're a great news organization. But in the description in the Denver Post, they did say that this was a pro-military T-shirt. Well, killing them all and letting God sort it out, that is unequivocally not at all in keeping with any type of proper military conduct in any unit that I've ever been in.
Right, well, that would be a war crime. Wouldn't that be a war crime?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And leadership is responsible, for the effects of their verbal communications, for the effects of their media, and the effect of wearing that T-shirt is further dividing Americans. It's making conflict more likely, not less likely. And it's the exact opposite of what somebody in a position of leadership should be doing, which is counseling calm, which is counseling the deliberative process and solving problems in that fashion, in a peaceful fashion.
Yeah, grandstanding and showboating and waving a firearm around is childish in anybody's estimation. That's just ridiculous. Let's take a little commercial break here. We were with Ike McCorkle, who's running for Congress, House of Representatives in CD4 in Colorado. You can find his website at ike4co.com. That's Ike, I-K-E, the number 4co.com. And if you want to donate to Mike, if you like what you heard so far, you can go to give.ike4co.com. That's through Act Blue. We'll be right back with more of Ike McCorkle, who's running for former Marine vet, running for Congress in CD4 in Colorado. We'll be right back after these messages.
And now a word from our sponsors.
Have you ever thought about opening your own mobile cart or kiosk business? Maybe the facility you manage could establish new revenue by adding coffee, food, or retail services. Cart King International can be the answer to your needs. Cart King is a North American designer and manufacturer of the finest mobile coffee, food, and retail carts and kiosks. Cart King has been working with clients and corporations across North America for 20 years, providing innovative designs, custom manufacturing, and timely delivery. Carts and kiosks are fun, and so are the dozens of designs on our website. Please visit us today at www.cart-king.com or just call us at 1-877-986-7771 and get your sales rolling.
Thank you so much for listening to the Opperman Report. I want to welcome all our new listeners at WWPR 1490 AM in the Tampa Bay area. We're brand new down here. We're getting a nice warm welcome. We have great advertising opportunities for local sponsors, local businesses, but also international websites and international companies too on our other stations in California, Nevada, Utah, and on the internet worldwide. But down here in Tampa Bay, Florida, we have some great opportunities for you to come in and get very, very affordable advertising rates. Get a hold of me at oppermanreport@gmail.com and we'll cut you a good deal. PureSoapFlakes.com, 218-568-2525. Have you ever heard of Castile Soap? Pure Soap Flake Company handcrafts fine soap bars, laundry powder, and concentrated soap flakes using organic vegetable oils from their northern Minnesota facility. Bathe your body and wash your clothes with Pure Soap products that are free of fragrance, GMOs, palm oil, sodium lauryl sulfate, and synthetic additives. Keep it clean, folks. Pure Soap Flake Company products are kind to living creatures and sensitive skin, safe for drains and waterways, and work great in high-efficiency washers and top and front-loading machines. They have a little promotion going on. Contact them to order some soap. Mention the Opperman Report. You're going to get a free gift. They're going to send a little extra soap, travel size, soap bars and laundry soap, cleaning soap flakes. I've been using that stuff all day long today. Great stuff. Order today at puresoapflakes.com or give them a call, 218-568-2525, 218-568-2525. Pure Soap Flake Company is a proud member of the Handcrafted Soap and Cosmetic Guild. The Opperman Report is brought to you by Aquadam.net. You can give them a call at 707-764-2119. A flooded home is never easy to deal with. You're left with the mess to clean up, the insurance companies to deal with, and not to mention all the memories, the precious memories that are lost in the flood. You can never replace those. And Aquadam can be a tool in your arsenal to protect your home and property from the floodwaters. The cofferdam is filled with water to control water and is reusable as long as it's taken care of. It can protect your home or business from rising floodwaters like a dam, but without the beavers. It can also be used in construction. If you need an area to be dewatered, an Aquadam can do the job. An Aquadam was used at SeaWorld in Orlando for the Mako roller coaster ride during the coaster's construction by dewatering the work area. An Aquadam is now dewatering the work area at San Antonio SeaWorld for their newest roller coaster ride. An Aquadam has been used in many construction projects all around the U.S. and all around the world. Now give Aquadam a call, 707-764-2119. You can look them up online at aquadam.net. You can find them on Facebook at Aquadam Inc. You call them up, you email them, you tell them Ed Opperman sent you, and they're going to take 10% off the price. Aquadam.net, 707-764-2119.
It's the Opperman Report. And now, here is investigator Ed Opperman.
Okay, welcome back to the Opperman Report. I'm your host, private investigator Ed Opperman. We're here today with Ike McCorkle, who's a former decorated Marine, combat Marine, who's running for Congress in CD4 in Colorado. His website, you can check out all his policies and stances and stuff like that on his website, Ike4co.com. That's Ike, I-K-E, the number 4co.com. So, Ike, let's see. Well, first of all, how is Colorado in the polls right now? Where are they swinging, toward Trump or toward Biden?
Well, Colorado overall is, swinging heavily towards Biden.
Okay.
And that's a good thing. We're seeing record turnout, and that's encouraging. We're also making a lot of, persuasion calls to that persuadable universe. And about 10% of the Republicans that we call in CD4 are telling us that they're voting for Ike, for me, for our campaign. And it's because our platform speaks directly to the needs of people in our district. And I think that we stand a really good chance of winning in November. And the reason I say that is because I've been all over the district, and I've talked to farmers and ranchers, Corn Growers Association, Wheat Growers Association, Hemp Growers Association, and I've engaged with them. I showed up and listened to their problems. And so I say we got a 50-50 shot at Congressional District 4 this time around. And that's exactly what the polls are telling us, that, we're neck and neck with Ken Buck. And we're competing, with his corrupt corporate money machine as well, with our grassroots funding. And, it just goes to show that you don't have to bow to the pressure of the corporate political establishment. And that's my promise when I go to Washington, is that I will not bow to the corporate political establishment. I will show up. I will listen to the needs of the constituents in my district, and I will legislate accordingly. And we will address the environmental crisis, and we will create good-paying jobs for our citizens that are sustainable, and we'll invest in our educational institutions and repair our roads and bridges and advance our technology and start living up to the foundational, fundamental values that we believe in and that we need to propagate so that, we can redefine ourselves in the eyes of the world.
Ike, what kind of endorsements have you gotten?
Yeah, I'm really proud that we just recently received the endorsement of Elizabeth Warren and the AFL ICO and the UFC W7 and the former chair of the Colorado Historical Society, William Way, and, a host of other folks. I'm going off memory here. I apologize, my voice is quitting on me. But I'm really proud that we've received the endorsement of the Sunrise Movement right here in Colorado, because that tells me that our youth are recognizing that I recognize, that we recognize the existential threat of our time. And so I'm really proud to have the endorsement of the Sunrise Movement, and really proud to have the endorsement of Senator Elizabeth Warren. And, there's a host of others on the website. If you want the full list, you can go check it out, of course, on Ike4co.com. And, I need to throw a pitch in. So if you can afford it, make a contribution, because we have a list of every voter to get a postcard in that mailbox tomorrow. Then I need you to pitch in even if you just pitch in $20 on my website, that $20 is going to get, close to 20 postcards in persuadable independent voters' mailboxes, and that's how we're going to win.
Also, volunteers too. Not independent, but progressive candidates need volunteers to help get souls to the polls, drive those people out to the voting booths.
Yeah.
Now, one of the biggest things facing Colorado right now is got those big forest fires, right? How are you going to deal with that?
Yeah, Colorado is experiencing the worst wildfires in our history as a direct result, of course, of the extended periods of drought, and as a direct result of the massive invasive species and beetle infestations that are all, due to the effects of climate change. And, I just had a debate with my opponent, Ken Buck, where he called, and this was October 16th, 2020, he said that climate change was theoretical, and our state is literally burning down. I drove up to Weld to do some literature drops, and the smoke billowing across our state is literally choking. And, you couldn't see a couple hundred yards up there. And it's tragic. And, it's the direct effects of climate change. And climate change is the direct effect of corruption in our legislature. The only reason why we haven't been transitioning to renewable or carbon neutral energy production methods since the 70s is because of corruption in the legislature. The Department of Defense has seen climate change as a national security issue since the Reagan administration, and has addressed it explicitly in every single national security document since 1991. And senior military leaders take it seriously. They understand the devastating effects of these wildfires, of these invasive beetle species that kill our forests, of these extended periods of drought, of changing precipitation patterns, and the impact that has on our agricultural industry. These are not theoretical problems. These are clear and present dangers of security. And, recognizing climate change as a critical national security problem, to date, DOD, NASA, government has focused, on adaptation rather than prevention, on incrementalism, and that is a farce. Incrementalism is poisoning our air, land, and our water, and it's compromising future generations. It's compromising the American dream and prosperity for our children.
Okay, Ike McCorkle, we're starting to run low on time, so let me ask you this. What about Medicare for All? Where do you stand on that?
Well, that's another thing. We're in the middle of this COVID-19 pandemic, and it's brought to the surface a lot of problems, and it's made apparent that our medical system does not have the capacity to deal with pandemics because essentially it's a system that is established for profits instead of patient care. What we need is a single payer Medicare for all healthcare system that doesn't bankrupt people and that doesn't thereby cause evictions of families. It's not only the morally right thing to do, it's the fiscally most responsible thing to do. It'll lower costs and it will provide access to high quality health care. It will provide the funds to construct rural hospitals, to pay nurses, doctors, and EMTs livable wages. And like I said, it's not just the fiscally most responsible thing to do. It's the only morally sound thing to do. Because the way I like to explain it to people is, if grandma falls down at 55 and breaks her hip, and her daughter and her granddaughter live with her, and grandma goes to the ER, grandma should not be bankrupt by medical bills because of an accident, an illness, or an injury, and thereby been evicted from her home, and her daughter and her granddaughter be made homeless. 60% of evictions annually are the direct result of unpaid medical bills. It's immoral, and it's not fiscally sound to allow profits to remain in our medical system. That's why it's so critical that we elect members to the U.S. House and Senate who will be strong voices and who will push the administration in the right direction on these issues.
Yeah, the number one reason for bankruptcy is also medical bills. And the number one reason why women choose to get abortions is for financial reasons. If we could break that cycle of poverty and medical bills and bankruptcies, everyone who's pro-life could then achieve the results that they're looking for. A huge reduction in abortions. You recently had a debate with Ken Buck. What can you tell us about your debate with Ken Buck?
Yeah. Well,
some sparks are flying, huh?
It was interesting, to say the least. We covered a range of topics. Like I mentioned earlier, he said that climate change was theoretical. And, the crux of the matter to me is that Ken Buck voted for a $1.5 trillion tax scam that gave tax breaks to himself, to his super rich buddies, and to their shareholders. Meanwhile, over the last 6 years that he's been in office, incomes have dropped across rural Colorado and across Congressional District 4. And, he said that we could manage these wildfires by logging, that climate change was theoretical, and that we needed to give more tax breaks to corporations. And fundamentally, he still believes in this theory of trickle-down economics, which, we both know is a farce. It doesn't trickle down. It gets hoarded at the top, and it gets pushed into offshore, inaccessible accounts. And we have a situation where dozens of multinational corporations pay next to nothing towards investment in the infrastructure, in the roads and bridges that they use to deliver their products to American consumers. And that's not a fair system. That is a rigged system where Amazon and Netflix and multinational corporations pay zero in taxes. This is an unfair advantage, and it's driving small businesses out of business in rural Colorado and in rural America. And it's largely responsible for the outsourcing of American industry, labor, and production, which we've seen in this pandemic is still critical. We need to be able to produce industrial products, and we need to develop environmentally friendly means of industrial production for those products right here in the United States, advance our technology, and start living up to our ideals. And instead of, passing legislation to give tax breaks to the rich and shareholders, we need to pass legislation to protect workers' rights, to ensure that Americans have revenue in their pockets to put food on their tables, and that they have a roof over their head for the duration of this pandemic.
Ike, let me ask you this. You gave him an opportunity to renounce right-wing white supremacist groups. Did he take you up on that?
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. It's probably the fieriest point of the debate. You were probably trying to cue me in on that.
Well, luckily he didn't bring his rifle with him, okay? Let's put it that way. You gave him a chance, though, to denounce right-wing white supremacy. Did he do that?
Yeah, so he took a kind of a cheap shot at the end of the debate, when according to the rules of the debate, I didn't have the right to respond. And, he brought up these, accusations that, which are ludicrous, that, we're involved with left-wing, radicals and stuff. So my response was that, which should be the response of anyone in a representative or any representative, is that I denounce, all violent extremism in all its shapes and forms and fashions. And I called on Ken Buck to denounce Antifa, to denounce the KKK, to denounce the American Nazi Party, to denounce the alt-right. And I asked him to denounce white supremacy. And I denounce now and denounced then radicalism and violence in all its forms. We don't need it. We need to solve problems via the deliberative process, as is the way of a representative institution of government. And we need reps in office that are going to set the example. Ken Buck, instead of denouncing white supremacy, instead of denouncing Antifa, the KKK, the alt-right, which he called on me to do. So, I did. Instead of denouncing white supremacy, he just stood up and walked out of the room. You can see him walking straight across, the camera and walking away as, I ask him, I reiterate that, I would like him to also denounce violent extremism. And instead of doing so, he just walked away. And so I think that shows us, exactly where Ken Buck stands and exactly the example that he's going to set.
Ike McCorkle, we got less than 1 minute left. Ike McCorkle running for CD4 Congress in Colorado. Got less than 1 minute left. What do you want to leave us with?
Yeah, we have a rigged system, and we have corrupt politicians in office who are serving the interest of shareholders and profits instead of the will, interests, and needs of American citizens. I am a retired Marine officer, a Purple Heart recipient, and I'm a concerned father. And if we want to save our democracy, save the integrity of our representative institution of government, we have to get out and vote. If we want to get corruption out of our government, if we want to start solving problems, we have to vote. Find 10 people and text them today and get them to the ballot box. Get them to turn in their ballots, and together we can take our government back, restore integrity, trust, the people's confidence, and most importantly, faith in good governance. Thank you so much for having me on today, Ed. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Ike McCorkle, he's running for CD4, Congressional District 4 in Colorado. The website is ike4co.com. And if you want to donate tonight, give.ike4co.com. Ike McCorkle, thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Have an awesome day. Thank you.
Good night.
And now a word from our sponsors. OppermanReport.com. Hey, do you like what you're hearing? Do you like the work that you see us doing here at Opperman Report? You can support that work by becoming a member at OppermanReport.com. And as you have access to over 200 exclusive shows and interviews that you can't find on YouTube or Spreaker or iHeart or iTunes or KYAH. You can't find them anywhere else online, exclusive to our member sections, to our members. Also, too, there's images, videos, documents, court docs. And don't forget, you can hear your ad played here on the Opperman Report, reach hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people on a daily basis because the show is repeated every day all over the world. Contact me at oppermanreport@gmail.com and I'll give you a good deal on advertising rates.
Have you ever thought about opening your own mobile cart or kiosk business? Maybe the facility you manage could establish new revenue by adding coffee, food, or retail services. Cart King International can be the answer to your needs. Cart King is a North American designer and manufacturer of the finest mobile coffee, food, and retail carts and kiosks. Cart King has been working with clients and corporations across North America for 20 years, providing innovative designs, custom manufacturing, and timely delivery. Carts and kiosks are fun, and so are the dozens of designs on our website. Please visit us today at www.cart-king.com or just call us at 1-877-986-7771 and get your sales rolling.
The Opperman Report is brought to you by Aquadam.net. You can give them a call at 707-764-2119. A flooded home is never easy to deal with. You're left with the mess to clean up, the insurance companies to deal with, and not to mention all the memories, the precious memories that are lost in the flood. You can never replace those. And Aquadam can be a tool in your arsenal to protect your home and property from the floodwaters. The cofferdam is filled with water to control water and is reusable as long as it's taken care of. It can protect your home or business from rising floodwaters like a dam, but without the beavers. It can also be used in construction. If you need an area to be dewatered, an Aquadam can do the job. An Aquadam was used at SeaWorld in Orlando for the Mako roller coaster ride during the coaster's construction by dewatering the work area. An Aquadam is now dewatering the work area at San Antonio SeaWorld for their newest roller coaster ride. An Aquadam has been used in many construction projects all around the U.S. and all around the world. Now give Aquadam a call, 707-764-2119. You can look them up online at aquadam.net. You can find them on Facebook at Aquadam Inc. You call them up, you email them, you tell them Ed Opperman sent you, and they're going to take 10% off the price. Aquadam.net, 707-764-2119.
Are you ready to change your life, but don't know how to start? Is your stress and worries keeping you awake at night? Have you been battling grief, anxiety, or depression all alone? Have you lost touch with your own sense of being or spirituality? Soul Free Therapies offers professional and affordable live video streaming counseling and coaching services from the comfort of your own home. Sessions offered in English, Spanish, and Portuguese. Go to our website at www.soul-free.com and book your first session today.
If you find yourself in need of legal representation, then at kmdlaw.com. Available 24 hours, 7 days a week. Just log into kmdlaw.com. That's kmdlaw.com. Or you can call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. That's 833-4KMD-LAW. Personal injury, wrongful death, STDs, sexual assault, car accidents. They handle it all efficiently and professionally. It doesn't matter how imposing the opposition may be, because the team at kmdlaw.com are battle-tested and fierce. They will not stop until justice prevails. Go to kmdlaw.com or call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. If you're in for the fight of your life, stop screwing around and contact KMD Law. PureSoapFlakes.com, 218-568-2525. Have you ever heard of Castile Soap? Pure Soap Flake Company handcrafts fine soap bars, laundry powder, and concentrated soap flakes using organic vegetable oils from their northern Minnesota facility. Bathe your body and wash your clothes with Pure Soap products that are free of fragrance, GMOs, palm oil, sodium lauryl sulfate, and synthetic additives. Keep it clean, folks. Pure Soap Flake Company products are kind to living creatures and sensitive skin, safe for drains and waterways, and work great in high-efficiency washers and top and front-loading machines. They have a little promotion going on. Contact them to order some soap. Mention the Opperman Report. You're going to get a free gift. They're going to send a little extra soap, travel size, soap bars and laundry soap, cleaning soap flakes. I've been using that stuff all day long today. Great stuff. Order today at puresoapflakes.com or give them a call, 218-568-2525, 218-568-2525. Pure Soap Flight Company is a proud member of the Handcrafted Soap and Cosmetic Guild.